Okay, so again, this ignition module was used up till 2015-ish, up to, like I said, version E ovens. And then for version F ovens and later, we went to a different style ignition module. It's still a fin wall ignition module, but it just looks different. So this one does still have some indicator lights on it. So it actually has one that's going to flash red and then one that's going to be solid green. So again, those would be some quick troubleshooting tips that we really don't need to measure power for. We're just going to look for those lights. If we see the lights, then we're making an assumption that the module has power, but the module has power and it's going to spark. So it's going to carry on its sequence from that point. So this one will also go into ignition lockout, and the red light will flash 3 times. You may have a scenario where on this module you get one light but you don't get the other lights. So there's 2 separate 24-volt DC inputs that this module is looking for. So if you get one without the other, you may have a solid green light, but if you don't get the red flash, it's not going to spark. And then the same vice versa. If you get the red flash but you never get a green light, then it doesn't see one of the inputs it's looking for. So it's not going to try and spark and carry on its sequence. So, and again, depending on the version of oven that this module is installed in or that you're testing, there's 2 different methods that it receives its power. So the first is going to be the centrifugal switch in the main motor on the back. So again, once that motor comes on, gets up to speed, switch closes, sends 24 volts to this, and then also the controller sends a 24 volt call for heat signal, and that's going to be the other light. So you're going to get the red flash, you're going to have the solid green light. That means you've got power to it, the controller is calling for heat. Now it's going to spark, and provided it senses flame and all that, it's going to just carry on and the oven will run. Now in some of the later versions, we moved away from the centrifugal switch due to issues with it. It gets dirty, the contacts in it break, or it just doesn't transfer power anymore. So the ovens actually have a current sensor in them, and we use current sense to detect whether the fan's running or not running. So anytime the current draw of the main fan is within a specific range that we've determined, then it will send power to the ignition module. So that allowed us to kind of get away from the centrifugal switch that we were having issues with. It's just a lot better setup, a lot more robust. You don't have to replace a very expensive motor for a very inexpensive switch when it gets dirty or fails. So a lot of benefits to going away from the centrifugal switch. But again, if you have that style, then you're going to have to make sure that the motor is running and that the current sensor is actually sensing current. And you can go into the control and you can actually pull up the data in the control, and you can see what the controller is seeing for current sense. So, and again, if you have any questions on any of this stuff, please call us. But really, for the most part, once we went away from the centrifugal switch, we really have very few issues with that setup.